Hey, it's me again. How you all doing? Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is working a bit more on the top of this. So, what I want to do is kind of isolate out these parts here and here, and I know I've duplicated them over here, but I'm going to delete them again, because, you know, I might build them again later on. I'm going to take this part here and its little friend just here, and I'm going to put them into a new group. So, what I'm going to do is call this left arm, so create new layer with this selection added. Is that the left arm? Yeah, I think it is. So rename left arm. You'll notice we're starting to lose all of our scaffolding eventually. I mean, there's only one bit left, and we're about to do that anyway. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure left arm's defaulted. I'm going to unhide my tools, but I'm going to hide the torso, the right leg, left leg, hips, and default, just so I can work on this. Now, actually, it might be a good idea just to unhide torso now I think about it. Simply because I'm going to want to approximate and make sure that I get the height right for the arm. So, I'll just move this up by about 75 degrees. That way it's out the way. Okay, and I'm just about to get ready. Now, the first part of the arm is just a simple L bracket, yeah? So, it's just a simple elbow join, really. Now, I'm going to want to do a little bit of reshaping work on this. Now, at the minute, if you look, there's quite a lot of flexibility kind of built into this socket. Yeah? So, what I'm going to do is take the first two rings and remove those. Here, loop it, Control Select by, and that'll get rid of this part, okay, because we need this part here. Now I'm going to cap it off, like that, and just nip to a, hang on, where's my secondary reference? There it is. Nip to my secondary reference over here. Right, now, what I'm going to do here, and I'm kind of looking at the shape while I'm doing it, because it's an interestingly complicated design, again, is I'm going to select this polygon, and I'm going to bevel it first. Just a little bit first. There we are. And then I'm going to bring it up a little bit, then out a tiny bit like that, and then up like that. Then this tiny bevel in, like so. Right, now over here at the top, if I select this, this and this, what I'm going to do is just extrude these straight up, like so. Now I'm going to get this one, change it to local, and just move this one until they're flattening down a bit. Now with all three selected, I'm going to scale them on the local, just in this direction. I can also, hang on, let's redo that. I can also scale them down just to make sure they're nice and flat. And then I'm going to bring the rear in. Now, for this I'm going to move it off being on local again. Just move it to world, or even view. There we go. Just bring that forward a bit. Now, take this part and this part here, and I'm going to chamfer it, like so. And next, just kind of looking at this piece, I'm going to make some pipe holes using cylinders. Just auto grid these. I'm going to make them 22 sides, one height segment, no cap segments. Just pull them out. Now then, if they're not appearing, it's because I need to turn auto grid. There, that's better. Convert to editable poly, and just grow it out, and then get rid of that back facing. There we are. Right, now what I'm going to do is just move this a couple of times. So I'm going to put one here, like that, and then I'm going to put another one over here like that. Then I'm going to attach them and delete these, and then just bridge them, then delete this and this, and bridge these as well. Just want to make sure our bridge is going to be okay though, so just hit F4 to make sure we haven't got any damaged polys. You see, we have on these ones. It's these edge chamfers that tend to do it though, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move to edge select mode and bridge them instead like this. There we are. And now I'll just cap these. So I mean the bridge tool is useful, but not very often. Okay. Now I'm going to bevel this a little bit. So tiny insert. And then a tiny bevel in and down. Okay, next. I'm trying to avoid doing lots and lots of tiny wires. I mean, you can put those in if you want, but the problem with tiny wires is that, well, if you've ever done lots and lots of tiny wires, you'll kind of know, especially in games modeling, that they're not the easiest thing to put in as normals. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab this, use my rotate tool, making sure I've got angle snap on, and do 90 degrees. Clone it to an element, and I'm just going to pull it straight out like this. Right, now I'm going to reduce it in size, so I'll just scale it fairly uniformly. Just move it more or less into the right position. It's a bit of a tricky one because I want to make sure I'm getting it in the right place. Okay, I'm just going to just extrude that out, not extrude that, scale that out a little bit more, and just check my other references if I can actually find a decent one. There's not very many decent ones at the elbow join because not many people actually kind of bothered making it in 3D really. Okay, there it is. Right. I'm going to pull this up to round about here, just before the bevel, and pull back. Now what I'm going to do, cap the rear side, that'll create a polygon, which means we can now extrude this. Just make sure I'm extruding in the right direction first. Okay, and I'm going to extrude down to round about there, just where it comes in on the bottom, yeah? Okay. Now, I'm going to go through the middle and do a connect. I'm going to chamfer that connect nice and wide. Say to about there. And just take out the middle ones. You notice I had this obviously at the two segments in the middle. That's okay. I didn't bother removing it simply because I'm going to delete all the middle ones anyway. Okay, now this gives us this shape that I can work from. So what I'm going to do is do both of these at once, doing freehand beveling. So I'll just cap there, make sure it's not too close. It needs to be a little bit further away, I think. Let's see, maybe not. No, it should be okay. Okay. So with these selected, go to bevel mode. Just make sure I've just got these selected and nothing else. Suddenly realised. Right. And down a tiny bit. Okay, now I'm going to bring them out a little bit. like that. That in a teeny bit. There we are, and then down again. It's quite a complicated shape, so take your time doing this, okay? It's a bit like a hamburger shape actually, I was thinking, so it isn't really obviously, but you know, it's what it reminds me of. I find it interesting that doing this is actually affecting the polygons over here. You're probably watching that as well. Okay, and then just pull this in a little bit here. There we go. Right. Because we're going to separate this off into two areas in just a moment. So I'm going to grow this. Like so. And detach it. Just make sure I've got the inside spindle. Just shrink it down a little bit because I want these two separate. There. Now. Detach. And we're going to detach it as... let me see. Well, if that was the upper arm, this is really the lower arm. See? So H higher arm, H lower arm. Sorry, upper arm, not higher arm. Right, now I need to do a little bit of capping on the ends of these. So one's going to have to go here and one's going to have to go here, and just cap that. I don't know why I keep getting this funky polygon thing going over here. I'll have to sort it out. Unless, oh, I see what's happened. I've accidentally chamfered it by the looks of things. Look. Yeah, looks like I have accidentally chamfered it. Oh, that was when I was building it. Never mind, I'll just get rid of this accidental chamfering work. It's easy enough to clean up. Just a case of using the bridge tool. And I do prefer cleaning up after my mess given a chance, so isolate. There we are. Yeah, it's a lot better doing it this way than it is like leaving your model all wrecked. There we go. Right. Now I can bridge these. Is there some sort of an inverse polygon on the inside that I'm not aware of? Let's have a look. Bridge appears to be not wanting to work. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. There we go. There, that's better. Oh, I see what happened. I actually got confused and was doing it in the same way as I'd do an edit poly. Sorry, target weld. Weld? Weld. Let's do this one. Of course, some of them appear to just be being complete bastards and not wanting to do it anyway. Let's do it manually. Ha! Sus. The first tutorial I ever used the bridge on, now I think about it, was probably Stormbringer, which I was going to call Serenity, but I thought, well, it's just not worth the hassle. But yeah, I remember now. Ooh, look at all those verts. Better clear those out. That means there'll be some at the other end as well. Bridge. Always worth cleaning your model up. And just clean up these bent looking polygons. Look, there's some there. Just do a quick Control A and just weld it. There we go. That should fix it. Ooh, it hasn't. Let's find out what's going on here. Looks like we've got a duff poly in the middle. Right. Sorry about this, I just want to make sure that it's fixed though, because I hate having broken polygons in a model. There we go. That's better. Alright, now we can get back to working on this bit again. So sorry if that was a bit long-winded. Right, so working on this again. As you can see, we've separated it off into two different parts. We've got the main part, which is this ball joint, and we've got this part here, which is basically our single axis of rotation for our elbow, which is pretty accurate because, of course, elbows only rotate on one axis. So we'll come back to this one in a few minutes. What I'm going to do first is work on this. Now, I'm going to select this top polygon here and this bottom one here at the same time and inset them to round about there. Just kind of having a look to make sure this is going to fit okay. Could really do with rotating this entire piece here, which is a bit tricky because, as you can see, it's not going to rotate uniformly. So let me see, I'll move it 10 degrees and then manually move it into its new position. Could probably do with a little bit more rotation. Yeah, that should do it. There, that's much better. Okay, the reason I'm doing that is because the top part wouldn't line up otherwise. So, okay, so this top part here is going to go all the way over to here. So, don't worry if you haven't got a flipping clue what I said or why I said it. I'm going to show you. Do a bevel, just a small one like this. Very clever the way it's been designed, but I've said that before. So a small bevel. It's quite hard to get a minus 0.001 bevel. So, okay, now I'm going to do a manual bevel again. Let's bring this up a little, and then do a kind of biscuit curve. I call it that because it reminds me of the kind of rounded shape on a biscuit slightly. There we go. Right, now what I need to do here, but only on this part, not all the way down, so make sure you ignore back facings off as well. Go down to here and do a connect, just a single one, and then I'm going to get rid of this half just here. Drop into perspective and zoom. And that leaves me this shape over here. Right, what I'm going to do now is kind of start fixing these bits together. I'm going to bridge here, cap here, and then cap here. Okay, now I can extrude this out. Right, let's do that again, and this time I'm going to use the settings here just to get it into the right position, like so. Okay, now I need to connect down the middle of this and slide it till it's just there. Pretty sure you can see where it is. Then I can delete this one, do F3 because I'm going to delete this one in here as well if I can ever select it. There. And then okay, I was just looking at that. I'll go from here to here, bridge. And here to here, and bridge. Select here and do a ring. Well, just do that there actually. Do a single connect. Slide of 0. And I'll just chamfer that a little bit wide. And I'm going to do that without the 3 segments. There we go. Now I can use target weld. Right, now over here. Aha, that's aha. Let's have a quick look at it. Easiest way to build one in here will just be to do an inset. And then delete this one here. Then I can just do target weld. There and there. Like so. That builds this top part. Now I realise we don't have it on the bottom part, but that's okay, we can copy it, so not to worry. So, size heavily, or we could just rebuild it all manually, but no. So, grab this, and this. Okay. Shift drag. Rotate it 180 degrees. Find the 3 pieces it's going to connect to. There, and there. Okay, next. Start lining this one up. Need a little bit of lining up, you see. It's more or less in the right position though, so. There we are. Now I just need to raise it up a little bit, I think. Let's have a look. No, it looks like I've just got to raise it back a little bit. Okay. Just make sure it's not going to cause any problems for this inside piece. Delete that. Nope, looks like it's not, so that's good. Now all I've got to do is bolt it on, so what I'm going to do is just grab here, like that, do a weld, and that'll weld all my verts together, well, nearly all my verts together, just to increase my weld amount. There. Should do it. Right, so next, after I've just checked that this is just one element again, and it is, let's have a look at these parts which are going to make up the elbow join. And what I'm going to do is come out of here and here, and tricky one, this one, so I'm just going to be careful how I do it. looking at the shape again, extrude it down a bit. I'm going to bevel it wide a bit, not too much, just a little. Give it a 0 length extrude bevel. Now I'm going to bring it down like this so that it attaches to here. Now, I think the easiest way to do that will just be to bridge it. There we are. Okay, now what I'm going to do is select this edge here and this edge here, and I'm going to loop it and then do a connect and just click OK. That way I keep the shape of our piece. You'll note it hasn't curved anymore, but I've now got these two pieces here, which is kind of what I want. Okay, next, just pull my microphone off my ear for a second and check I haven't paused it. Good. Okay, again, looking at the shape of this, I've got a part that's going to come out and join the arm, so I've got to make sure that I get this shape right. So I'll go and check a different one. Okay, so this shape coming out of here is going to come from round about here. So it's quite a limited axis of movement. I'm going to delimit it a bit. So I'm going to have it come off this side, which gives it a lot more of a range of movement. Bring this forward to here, just clone it to an element. Now I'm going to flatten it. Okay, and now I'm going to flip it out. Okay. Checking my model. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's 9 there that I've just done. So I'll just bridge those together to create that piece there. Right. Moving this across. Actually, I'm not even going to bring them across, I'm just going to delete them. I really don't want a pile of these things over here. And it's a tricky one because these rounded pieces I want to make into a smooth shape. So, for the moment, I'm just going to wipe them out. Okay, and these ones. There we go. Just to give us our elbow join. Right. Now what I'm going to do is just ring this. Don't think it's going to let me, so let's do it this way. Do a connect. And I'm just going to scale it flat. There we are. Right, next. I'm just kind of looking at this shape here because what I want to do is kind of complicate it as a shape. What I'm going to do is grab here, here and do a connect. And then go here and do a hinge from edge. Pick my hinge, it's going to be this one. 180 degrees and 11 segments. Now you've seen me do this a number of times, so it's nothing exciting and new. Delete the end polygon there. However, what I want to do is take this, all of this part, there we are, and just attach it as an element. Right. Now I'm going to make a clone of it, so 180 degrees. that underneath. Okay, now with both these parts selected, I'm going to increase the size of it. Kind of need to separate these a bit. Keeping them separate for a reason, by the way, it's not just insanity. Okay, I'm going to scale them in a bit. Make them the right width. Push them down. Like so. Okay. Just looking at the size, what I need to do, you see, is kind of make a cut off between these two pieces. Okay. Now I found my cut off area, so I'm going to take off these. And these. And all these inside bits here. Told you it was a weird, complicated system. You're like, no, Chris, you didn't tell us it was going to be like this at all. You're just a big fibber. But don't worry, it will create for us our complicated shape. And it'll create it without the pain in the arse of booleans, which does awful things to your model and makes you want to cry. So, that's a good thing. Not the crying, obviously. Right, so we now have this shape here. So, what I'm going to do is drag this nice and wide to about here. Let's kind of get it to there. There we are. Drop into perspective. Do it the other side. And bring this one across to about here. Right. The reason for this is because we know that this is more or less a circle shape, and it allows us now to kind of marry this in to this shape here. We wouldn't otherwise be able to do this, not without a lot of kind of really pain in the arse beveling. So it's a good way of doing it. There we go. Now I can do this one. And this one. There we are. And there's plenty of room as well for me to add some pieces I'm going to have along here, so I'll do that shortly. Now, just have a look and see what kind of chamfer I can get away with on this. Not that much, really. It's a bit of a shame, but never mind. I can kind of round it out a little bit if I want anyway. Now, I need to build the cogs, so what I'm going to do is just look at this again. Should be a little bit wider, really, just so that it kind of meets into the middle there. So what I might do is just kind of scale this entire piece. I'll just effect pivot only center to object, effect pivot only off. Now if I just scale out on the wide axis there, you'll notice that it's going to make this uneven. But we can even that out again by just crushing this part in if we want to. I don't want to widen this part on the side out too much though, so what I might do instead is just grab all these, and if I extrude them by local normal, okay, just make sure they come out about that much, maybe a little bit more, because we want it to intersect with this bowl here. This is kind of how this piece works, yeah? We're going to hide a lot of the mechanics inside this, but we want it to look like it's got feasible mechanics. Okay, now let's go over to our vert mode, go to target world, just close this area up a bit. There and there. Alright. So I've looked at this shape and it's looking okay, so now it's time for me to start building the actual cogs. Well, not the cogs, what are they? Are they lugs? I can't remember. Whatever it is that comes out the side of these anyway. Press F3 so I can get in nice and close. Okay, that should do it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude them all by local normal, about that far. Then I'm going to bevel them, pretty much like that. Now, what I can also do is, if I just go into select mode for edge, I can select these inside pieces here and use a curved chamfer on them. Not too wide, there we go. About that much, just to kind of curve out the inside a bit, as you can see, and that'll make it look a lot better. So we'll just go through all these. It won't take us a minute. It'll take us a couple of minutes. Wait for autosave. There we are. Said it before, don't turn autosave off. You'll regret it. And no one will feel sorry for you. It only takes up a few seconds. A couple of minutes on only the largest projects. I'll not bother chamfering that edge there. I'll do this one. There we go, you see. Really nice lug nuts it does there. Click OK, go back to select by. Have a look at these end polygons. I can reduce them in size if I want to, like that. I think I probably will. Right, getting a bit closer. Okay, that looks fine. Grow it. And again, just bring them all together a bit like that. There we are. And as you can see, they're all kind of intersecting through the middle of this. So what I'm going to do is build a minor depression on the inside of here, just to take that into account. And I'm going to cap off the end of this because this is where it's going to connect to the gun arm. So cap there. Right. Just isolate this a moment. Makes things a little bit easier for me. And I'm going to cut these ones in half. Get a bit closer for this one. Just use a connect on them. Oh, nice! You see, that was a byproduct that was completely accidental. Right, what I'm going to do now is bring this in. Actually, before I do, I'll just attach it instead as an element, then bring it in. Now I'm going to want to connect straight down the middle there, and then I'm going to use target weld to bring these parts in. Do this one again. And that one. Right, now I've got to make sure this is back far enough. So there we go. I'm going to use my chamfer tool. And basically I'm going to curve this out like so. And click OK. The idea being that if we were going to go the whole 972 yards, then I would actually build the rotating cog mechanism inside there. But I'll give you a clue. P.S. I'm not. We don't really need to. You can see how well this is starting to match up anyway. Okay, now go back to my reference for this again. I was sure this was going to be an easy piece. You know, it's only an L-bolt. I didn't think it was going to need too long. Oh, little I knew. Right. Just looking at this again. Grab my other reference just to quickly check it out. You're going to be glad, yeah, you're going to get like way more references than I had. Okay. Yep. Good. What I'm going to do now is have some pieces come off this. So I'm just going to isolate it. And I'm going to bring my pieces off here. Okay. And off here. So I'm going to extrude them. Just a little. Then I'm flattening them. And they're going to come in and attach onto this. So I'm going to extrude these by 0 and bring these out. And I'm going to grab these inside parts here and here, bring them in. And back. So it makes things a lot smoother when you do it that way. Okay, I think what I'm going to do as well is just move that one up to about there, and that one to about here. Dicks with our shape a little bit, but that's not the problem. Just to make sure this is okay. In here to here is a bridge. And in here to in here is a bridge. That one's twisted. So we can just use the twist on it. There we are. And that'll fix that. Right, now what I'm going to do is apply some details to these two arms. So it's tricky because I can't actually see enough inside these to be able to accurately work out where the detail goes from the plan, so I'm going to have to draw them on myself and hope for the best, but that usually works quite well, so I'm not really that worried. It is a nice mechanism, cleverly done. Right, so I'm going to run a script, and it's going to be my script from over here. Set my selection as a source, and my distribution object is going to be, I think I'm going to choose this one, and the distribution object to that one, just in case the first one's too big. Now let's see, first of all, how big it is on this. That's pretty large, in fact that's massive, though it does look quite nice there. So, okay, and I put them both on anyway. There, I'll put this large one here, then move to these slightly smaller ones, which are still pretty damn large. Let's pick that small one. Hang on. So, let's see. Distribution object 3 can be this one. It's a good one because it's really tiny, but there we are. Turn off place again. Right, now let's try it. Yeah, that's right. That works nicely. So I'm going to put one here and one here. And here and here. Take your time kind of getting them lined up properly. because it obviously looks a lot nicer if you do. Just having a look at places where I can add these, because I don't want to screw with the detail, but I do want to add these parts to it and make it look like it's, you know, supposed to be there. There we are. These things come in really handy as well if you ever want to do something like a wire jumble script on them. Okay, let's attach them. Really hoping some people are going to do whips on this in the forum. I think a lot of people look at Ed 209 and kind of go, ooh, that would be a bit too difficult, or ooh, who in their right mind would want to do that? Me included, really. But no, it's a fun project. You should try it. Okay, go to this one. I'm going to zoom in on the polygon before I start bridging everything. There we are. It's always a pain because sometimes you get like not the exact outside edge. So there we are. And then a cap again. I think possibly this tutorial has included more use than any other of this tool. Okay, bridge. And then cap. And this one. Don't worry, we're nearly finished. I've got a fresh can of Diet Coke waiting for me when I'm finished this bit, which will be nice. Okay, let's get rid of these bits. I mean, we could just leave these loosely sitting on the surface, but I think it looks a bit crap when you do that, to be honest. So it's not just that as well. When you optimize the model, if you don't remove the detail, and these are designed to be very, very easily removed instantly, but if you don't remove these and you optimize it through Polygon Cruncher or whatever, then sorry, I just do that. Then it can sometimes make a pretty awful mess. So there we are. Some interesting looking tops here. Look at that. I may have to yeah, I'm gonna have to scale these back flat. Either or put a cut straight across these parts. I'm gonna scale them back up to the right size again. And that one hasn't got a chamfer look. There we go. Right. Anyway, before I get back to fixing these, because they are going to need to be fixed, let's get back to doing these. Still got detail to do on the other piece as well. Bet you can't wait. Right. Just bridge that. Let's use an F4 to make sure it's okay. And again. There we go. Now let's select these polygons again, because we're going to have to put them back up. The alternative is to cut a line across the top, but to be honest, I'd be here for a while, and I don't want to just pause it or time lapse it at the moment, because I've gone pretty much without doing that so far. I'll never get to 3D Valhalla if I cut corners, you see. Right. There we go. It's cool because it still fits in there, so that's a help. Right, now let's have a look up here on these parts. And I'm going to add some pieces to that, so let's hide this selection for a bit. Zoom in on this. Got to be careful that I'm not going to have any intersections going on. Use this medium bolt. Set selection as source and go into place mode. Put one there and one there. Then I'll go into my smaller ones. I'll put one here and here, here and here. Down the top of this. Put those like that. No, I'll just have two actually. There we go. That works it quite nicely. Maybe put one there like that as well. There you go. You see, it didn't need to place too many. That should be just enough. It should be more than enough for us to add to this piece, certainly. Delete these two. And let's start by bridging these. And here. Now down here. Please note this section is nearly finished, incidentally. And as for the modelling itself, I've just got the gun arm left to do, and that'll be done. How long the gun arm takes, well, that's anyone's guess. Haven't recorded it yet. Okay, let's cap this and this. Now over here. And bridge. Now go over the top and do this bit. And I'm going to bridge from here to here. And here to here. Probably. If it's any consolation, I'll be quite glad when this piece of arm's out of the way as well. Over here. There we go. And now we can cap all these sections, you see. So make sure it's only that part there that's capped. Now cap this part, and now cap this part. Right. Bet you'd forgotten about this bit, hadn't you? Don't worry, won't take long. That's there. What I particularly like about the placement tool is that if you move your mouse while you're placing it, it rotates the item. However, that can be an issue sometimes when you're creating your placed item because it won't be lined up exactly the same as the ones on the other side. However, the reason I like it is because of that. it puts a lot more, not character, but it makes it slightly less symmetrical all over, whereas having all the screws or bolts or whatever placed as if they're threaded exactly the same tension everywhere is just completely unrealistic. And I digress. There we go. Zoom out. Right, so take a moment, just sit back and look at the piece that we've made. If you've been following along in real time, you know, you should feel pleased with yourself and maybe have yourself a nice cup of tea to celebrate, or coffee, or beer, or neat vodka. I think I'm going to do edge checks on these, so if I'm going to save this as work, so that if my edge checks goes horribly wrong, at least I'll be able to recover it. So we'll use this one first. Edge checks. Just wait for the magic whilst looking out the window. There we are, click standard. I was about to collapse this and load up the next one. I'm just going to increase the amount of chamfer just a little bit. I don't want it massive though, because it'll break all these. There we go, and I reduced the angle to 44.9 as well. Convert to editable polygon. There you go, so that's that part done. Now this part is going to have the same treatment, and edge checks, and exactly the same parameters. Now we're going to use a smooth upon it. And I'm going to make this about 22. It's usually enough. Same with this one here. Whoops, that's an edge check, so I was about to put on there. Whereas I just wanted to smooth. There you go, 22 again. And I'm just going to reset X form on that, because I'm going to want it to rotate from the correct part, and thinking about it as I am, I'm going to line it up to that while I'm here. Now if you look, you see I'm going to have to get it between these two, which is a bit more awkward. So there, I'll get it at the middle of this apex, and it should be in the middle then. See and find out. Yes, it is. Beautiful. Had to be careful with how the parameters here for the gun are worked out. Such a clever design. Okay. Yay. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to move this back down by, 75 degrees. So I'll be covering over this part again. And in the next part, we're going to look at the gun arm itself. So until then, thanks for watching. Hope you've had a bit of fun. See you in the next part. Bye-bye for now.